Hello, let's take a look at the weather across Europe, and it is a very unsettled picture through the central Mediterranean. Anywhere from the Balearics stretching through Italy towards Greece, Croatia as well. You can see all this heavy rain, so low pressure, really very slow moving there in the Mediterranean at the moment, and that weather could be causing some disruption. Some brisk winds for the south and southeast of France, stretching through the Adriatic towards the Ionian and Aegean as well. So not only those strong winds, but really heavy rain and mountain snow across the Olympian Mountains as well. Down towards Turkey, it remains mostly dry through into Thursday, but some of that wet, stormy weather could move in later in the week. And for much of Spain, it's also fairly cool and unsettled as well. We've got rain and mountain snow pushing into the north here. Relatively dry, but still quite cold for parts of France, Germany, towards the Netherlands, for instance, as well. More snow showers moving in around the coast of Norway, and quite blustery winds here lasting through the rest of this week. So into Friday, then still stormy in the Mediterranean, that weather just shifting its way a little bit further eastwards, but still looking really very wet and windy, with some mountain snow lingering for Greece up towards Romania as well. The outlook for the next 5 days, and things are generally fairly settled for London, Paris, Madrid too. Rome could see a bit of rain over the next few days, looking drier as we head through into the start of next week, and turning a little bit less cold than it has been in Kiev. Bye-bye. Hello. We've seen some heavy rain over recent days across the southern Philippines and in Indonesia, particularly for Sumatra as well. You can see the massive cloud here on the satellite image. Some of those heavy downpours set to continue during the course of this week. Meanwhile, further north, of course, we've had that record-breaking cold. Temperatures down to -53 across parts of China, and Mount Fuji, it was -36 earlier in the week. So that's the lowest temperature in Japan so far this century. Not quite as cold for the likes of Tokyo, Seoul and Beijing as it has been. We've still got temperatures lower than average right down to the east coast of China, Hong Kong at 15 degrees there, but more snow showers coming for Japan. Meanwhile, further south, we've got all that wet weather, those heavy thunderstorms set to continue. So here's the outlook then. In Osaka, things looking relatively dry, not as cold as it has been over the next 5 days or so, but more snow showers packing in across parts of Honshu, certainly. Meanwhile, across Australia, we've still got some heavy rain around the top end, perhaps 1 or 2 thunderstorms developing for New South Wales, but certainly not as heavy as they were for Sydney, for instance, earlier in the week. Largely dry and settled towards Perth with temperatures around 30 degrees. But for New Zealand, there's a subtropical area of low pressure. Now that's moving in from the north, and it's going to bring some really persistent heavy rain, particularly to the Northland. Showers elsewhere across New Zealand, fewer and further between. Still fairly unsettled for Sydney, but things turning hot in Melbourne for Saturday. Bye-bye. Hello. We've had some very cold weather recently sitting across central and southern parts of Asia, particularly for the likes of Afghanistan. Some of that cold air filtering down towards Pakistan as well. Temperatures below average into the north and northwest of India too at the moment. We've got a little bit of shower cloud on the satellite image, a few isolated showers that have been affecting some southern and western parts of India. They're going to continue over the next couple of days. Down towards Sri Lanka, drier than it has been, but we have got some heavy showers sitting in the Bay of Bengal, and that will spill some rain into southern parts of Sri Lanka through the rest of this week. The Maldives also seeing a few of those sharp showers, but things are looking drier but colder into Central Asia. Temperatures in Astana down at around -13 through Thursday, and that cold air sitting across much of Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, towards Afghanistan as well. Down towards Karachi, 22 degrees here. As we head down the west coast, things looking a bit warmer and drier as well, but we have just got the odd light shower just not far away there from the west coast, and also Mali could see a passing shower. Nothing particularly heavy. Dry up towards Chennai, for instance. We keep that dry, settled, warm weather for Kolkata and Dakar as well. So here's the outlook then over the next 5 days or so. For Mumbai, we will see a little bit more cloud filtering in from the north, and that will just bring the temperatures down a little bit. Islamabad seeing some heavy downpours through the weekend into next week as well. Looking dry and settled for Karachi, and those temperatures starting to creep back up. Bye-bye. Hello. Tropical storm Cheneso has been affecting Madagascar for around a week now, producing heavy rain. We've seen flooding too. It's now just cleared out into the Mozambique Channel, but it's going to re-intensify over the next few days. So this area of low pressure here, that is that tropical storm, soon to be tropical cyclone at Cheneso. So there could be another 300 to 400 millimetres of rain for western parts of Madagascar. Big waves and strong winds around coastal areas too. We're also seeing some heavier rain for parts of Zimbabwe, Malawi, for instance, as well. And further north across Africa with unsettled weather in the Mediterranean. Some showers for Algeria, Tunisia too, some snowfall to come across the Atlas Mountains. Cape Town, pretty warm over the next few days, temperatures up into the high 20s. Could be some heavy showers though further east across parts of South Africa. Meanwhile, Khartoum looking warm and dry for the next 5 days or so, but in Marrakesh we could see some heavy showers, particularly through the day on Friday, and it's relatively cool still there as well. Heading across the Levant, most places dry and settled at the moment, but really quite stormy conditions developing at the moment across the Middle East. And by Thursday, some storms through parts of Saudi Arabia towards the UAE, Qatar, and stretching across towards Iran, where there'll be some snow over the mountains. So some heavy downpours for many areas over the next few days, looking drier and warmer from the weekend onwards. Bye-bye. Hello. Central and southern Brazil has seen some ongoing heavy rain, all down to a slow-moving South Atlantic convergence zone. So if we take a look at the blue and green colours, the heavy downpours you can see through central and southern Brazil stretching out there into the Atlantic. That is that zone that's going to be staying put, but it's just shifting a little bit further north. So still some heavy downpours for the likes of Minas Gerais, Espírito Santo as well. But I think Rio de Janeiro looking a little bit drier than it has been. And further north, slightly drier weather continuing for Venezuela and northern parts of Colombia, but southern Colombia and Ecuador still seeing some heavy downpours. They continue through the Amazon basin down towards central and southern Brazil as well. But to the south of that, we've still got relatively warm weather, especially for northern parts of Argentina and Paraguay. Unsettled down towards Patagonia with weather fronts moving into southern Chile there. So Rio de Janeiro drier than it has been, warming up a touch here too, but Buenos Aires does see the arrival of some heavy showers and some thunderstorms with a bit of a drop in temperature too. Meanwhile, into Mexico, we've got the tail end of this front in the Gulf of Mexico. That could bring some fairly heavy downpours for eastern Mexico, the Bay of Campeche, pushing into the Yucatan Peninsula and western parts of Cuba late Wednesday and into Thursday. Towards the east of that, most places staying relatively dry and settled, certainly for another few days. But it is a rather showery outlook for Havana for the rest of this week, but things looking mostly dry and settled in Kingston. Bye-bye. Hello. We've seen an active winter storm that's brought several inches of snow to parts of Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma, for instance, as well as some big downpours and tornadoes for the likes of Texas too. You can see the storm system pushing its way gradually eastwards. So through the day on Wednesday, we could see some really stormy weather through the likes of the Florida Panhandle, Georgia, up towards the Carolinas as well. So severe storms and flooding possible here. On the northern edge of that storm system, it's heavy snowfall across portions of the Great Lakes towards New York, Maine as well. Not only heavy snow, could be up to a foot of snow, but also blizzard conditions with those strong and gusty winds too. Meanwhile, next area of low pressure pushing in across Alaska down towards British Columbia. So that's on the way, bringing more snowfall. There can be some quite heavy snow developing across the Rockies through the second half of this week. Further south, though, things looking largely dry and settled down towards California at the moment. So here's the outlook then. It's mostly dry and settled. Bit of a drop in temperature for the likes of San Francisco, Los Angeles too, turning a little bit cooler. Meanwhile, towards the east, and there's that heavy snowfall pushing up towards Montreal, Toronto as well. It's going to be strong winds and heavy rain close to the coast. Still quite warm ahead of that, so some quite humid and warm air for Orlando down towards Miami. But as that cold front sweeps through, it brings the rain. It also brings a drop in temperature, so turning colder for Atlanta and Miami. And we're going to be seeing some snowfall in Montreal. Bye-bye.